All right, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, I'm making this quick video because I want to share something that really gave me an aha moment and really opened my eyes. And I think that it's important to share with other people. A lot of times, people people in professions of entertainment, athletes, um, maybe high paid attorneys at sometimes, but and especially physicians, right? Doctors, medical practitioners, etc. They always get the short end of the stick when it comes to finances. All right. And what normally happens is that everyone criticizes them on their finances. Everyone makes fun of them. They point fingers. They claim that they're financially illiterate. They're stupid. All that stuff, and that's not the case. Um, and so I want to share with you a true story about a client. I'm not going to disclose his name because that's too personal for him. Um, but here's the thing: we all know athletes, right? We all know athletes. You see them on TV. They may be your idol, right? So one time, um, so one of my clients is a former NFL player, and when I first met him, like I was in awe, right? Because in high school he played for my favorite football team, and plus, like, I mean, a few years before I met him, he also had his team had won the Super Bowl, so I was super excited to meet him. Picked him up from the airport, and you know how it is, like when you meet someone that you really kind of like idolize, right? But from a distance. So from a distance, everything seems perfect, right? And then when you finally meet the person, you're able to really talk with them, engage, understand, develop a real relationship. You start to realize, like, man, I didn't know that, right? I didn't know that. So normally, and this is what is so interesting just with these professions in general. Normally, if someone is a professional athlete, they have busted their butt, right, for years, okay, decades. They have busted their butt to get where they are on a professional level. It's funny because physicians, for the most part, that's the same. If not their entire life, at least 8+ years in college, residency, et cetera, et cetera. And so when they finally are able to experience all their hard work, it's almost like they still have to keep their nose to the grindstone, right? And so when I was talking to him, he was basically expressing to me that he had worked all his life to get to where he was, and he had a shorter career than what he could hope for, right? So this guy played running back, and everyone wants to obtain some level of financial freedom, some level of wealth to progress, basically, right? Most people become athletes not because they just love the sport. Like, because if you really love the sport, right, you could volunteer at your local gym, your local rec center, whatever. You could go run routes, for example, just for the hell of it, if you really love it. But there's also a compensation factor there that is of equal importance, if not more important, for most people. Same thing with those who are physicians. Listen, I'm sure they love helping people, but at what extent would they actually want to help people pro bono, right, for free forever? It's probably not likely. So when they reach that level of success, they've had to carry a decade's worth of expenses. A lot of times, a decade's worth of expenses. Yeah, I don't care if they had a full ride scholarship. I don't care if full ride scholarship, either way, athletic, non-athletic, whatever. They had expectations that they had to live up to. They may have had to turn around and then support their family members as well, right? Their mom, their grandparents, or aunts or uncles or fathers who help support them in that building up and progression. And so you invest a lot of time, and once you're finally able to obtain that income, you're blindsided. And what he was blindsided by was the fact that the contract said one thing, and this is crazy because I've seen this with clients of mine that are physicians. The contract does say one thing, but then there's so many things that you have to meet when it comes to performance. All right, if you don't meet these things, it's a wrap. And so not everything that glitters is gold. And one of the major issues that they're faced with are taxes. And so people on the outside normally make fun of physicians, athletes, et cetera, because they say to themselves, man, if I had this amount of money, like such and such player, or if I had this amount of money, like such and such doctor or physician or whatever else, I would do X, Y, Z. But what they don't realize is that oftentimes the salary that they're grossing, that's gross, that is not net. And that salary a lot of times is being cut in half. Normally they're paying about 40% tax on the regular income. As a matter of fact, with the new tax plan, if someone's earning, north of $400,000, they're going to pay 39.6% for their federal taxes. That's just federal taxes. That's not including your state. So if you live somewhere like in, California or New York, you could possibly pay 50, maybe even 60% in taxes, right? That's a huge hurdle to actually get over. And especially if you're in medical school, it's about individual performance. Just in college in general is about individual performance. And so one of the things that really was an aha moment for me is that for the client I'm talking about, the NFL player, he had to understand that investments and business and building a portfolio should be viewed as a sport, as a team sport, just as football or basketball or anything else. And the primary reason for that is you're not meant to do everything on your own. As a matter of fact, most of those professionals, they have to invest a lot of time in what they're doing, a lot of time, a lot of effort in what they're doing. And they don't actually have the additional time to become deal makers on the side. And so it's important to actually be a part of a team and to where that can be leveraged, right? And when you don't have that team, and this is what happened for him. When you don't have that team, you end up looking for other alternatives or other options that are detrimental to your future. And so it actually got so bad at one point for him, and this is before he was able to work with us, that he was going through a divorce, and unfortunately, he also had a home in foreclosure, right? And once again, that doesn't mean that he's someone who's bad with money. That's not it. He just wasn't. No one ever told him that as an athlete, as someone who earns that amount of money, that he basically is only working with 50% of that income. And I'll say this real quick before I leave. If you're taxed at let's say 50% of your income, and then if your living expenses, if anyone who's ever leased an apartment or purchased a home, they base it off of 30% or 33%, a third of your income, right? So you take 50% and you take the 33%. That's 17% that you're actually living off of. And the only way that you're able to get around that is if you begin to build your passive income, and that passive income from your portfolio will allow you to actually cut all that down. But most people don't have the time to actually become professionals in that arena. And that's why it's so important to lean on team members who can help you in that process. Most professionals earning that high amount of income, they're normally approached with financial advisors or stock brokers or planners who's primarily focusing on stocks, mutual funds, bonds, etc. But there's no advantages in that. There's no advantages that will actually increase your wealth. As a matter of fact, when you take your money out of those vehicles, you're taxed heavily, right? There's no tax incentives for keeping